I am writing a paper on conceptual metaphors for a class in sociolinguistics. So the first thing I'm going to do is open up the Henderson Library website for Georgia Southern, and I'm going to type in conceptual metaphors into the search bar because this is the first place that I look whenever I'm looking for journal articles. And I always change, I go to advanced settings and or search, and I always change the year to at least 2000, online full text only, and scholarly peer review. This is because if I can find a journal article from the year 2000, typically in their references section, they will lead me to other articles from the past. So I'm scrolling and I see a lot of options, but because conceptual metaphors is a broad topic, I have to narrow my focus. So I'm going to do conceptual metaphors and cultural variation. And I also use the Boolean and so that I can have keywords. As I scroll, I notice that a lot of them are experiments or case studies, but I want a theoretical journal article right now, so I'm going to click on the link Story of Conceptual Metaphor, What Motivates Metaphoric Mappings. Typically, I will read the abstract to figure out one, if it's in language that I can comprehend, and two, if it sounds like something that'll be of use to my research project. So I've decided that I will not use this article because he is providing evidence to make a claim, and I want to have an unbiased opinion of the article, so I'm going to search for another article. Now I am changing my search topic to say conceptual metaphor theory in hopes that it will give me a more theoretical article. So I have found another article called Metaphors and Models, Conceptual Foundation of Representation, and I'm going to look at that article. This is a good article. It introduces the concepts of Lakoff and Johnson, which are, I guess you could say, the pioneers of the conceptual metaphor theory. So, and it also gives graphs and little annotations for each of the different concepts. So I'm going to save it as a PDF, which is what I usually do whenever I find an article that I like. Um, and this is because I like to keep a accurate record within my computer, so that I can reference the article again if I need to. So the next step of my research, I'm going to try to find examples of cultural variation in conceptual metaphors. So I'm going to find one more article that talks about um, the different examples, maybe from a different language or a different culture. So we have to change our search terms a bit. So I'm going to type in conceptual metaphor theory, cultural variation, and let me think of a language, and Korean. And once again, I have to change or add online text only and scholar peer reviewed. Okay, I found an article called A Corpus-Based Approach to Emotion Metaphors in Korean. By the abstract, this article also looks good, so we are going to save this one as well. So I mentioned before that I look at the references section at the very beginning. Right now I'm scrolling up through the appendices to see if I can find a reference section for this article. Great. So I found the references section, and I'm now going to look for other articles that could benefit my study. Um, so here I see the metaphorical conceptualization in English and Spanish, and from English to Arabic. So what I would do is I would copy and paste one of the journal or one of the citations, and I will go to Google, type it in, see if I can find the article in Google that way. But if I can't, then I will use the Henderson Library search again to see if I can find the journal article. And the reason I use Google is just because it's easier whenever you're trying to find one specific article. But if they make you pay for it, typically you'll be able to find it in the Henderson Library database. So I'm not able to find it through Google. So I'm going to go back to the Henderson Library homepage, and then in the search box, write only the title. I'm going to still search for the original article that I was looking for, but I found another article of similarity, a cognitive study of happiness metaphors in English, Tunisian, Arabic, and Spanish. So I'm going to open up that article, but also still search for the original article. Since I can't seem to find the article, I can use, I can type in the journal, e-journal title into the Henderson Library search, and this will try to locate the journal itself, and then I can use um, the journal list to find the volume and the issue. So I found the journal. The system is saying that it can't be found, no text available for this item. So I could search for it in GIL, or I could do a document delivery in Interloan Library. But because I found a comparable article, I'm just going to read that article. Um, Typically because I'm on a time constraint. So um, it'll be easier for me to read this article. I'm good. Here you go.